one way or another, man, you're putting yourself in debt, right? In one sense, you're going to put yourself in debt by basically putting a clock on. You're going to go to jail. You're going to lose your freedom.
Yeah.
But in the other sense, you're technically still going to lose your freedom if you just wind up in debt, which 90% of people that go into school end up in a jail of debt.
Yeah.
And you still lose your freedom because the rest of your life, all you do is work.
You work to pay for the debt you made to get the job that you made to get the job.
Yeah,
and now you gotta get a car, and you gotta keep the job to pay for the car and the debt that you made.
I don't know why she swallowed the fly. Perhaps she'll die. Like, it's basically that song in a fucking debt prison. Like,
America, land of free.
Unless you're black. then it's
for a long time.
Then it's nightmare.
Yeah, because if we're slaves,
which
to the system,
I honestly think we are. I know that that's a very, like, a lot of people would say that's a negative, fucked up way to look at it, and that's not even true, a lot of people might say. But, like, if you, again, it's one of those things where if you just step back for a second and stop putting your ego in it and just acknowledge it, first of all, you'll automatically recognize humanity acts like a disease. That is a fact. That's not something in dispute. It's not objective. It's not subjective. It's objective. We are acting like a disease where we spread to an area, consume everything beyond sustainability,
pollute the fuck out of
it, and then move to another area to do that again. That's been That's been our existence throughout history. And then the second thing is what we were just saying, how we're slaves.
Oh yeah, slaves is the system. There we go, Matrix.
If you actually look at it, we are slaves. Like, if you just step back for a little bit, you'll recognize, like, we don't have freedoms. We have to work. You have to fucking do all of these things, like do your car shit and do your everything you have to do, and you don't have any free time. Really.
I don't necessarily believe in the Illuminati, how they're controlling everything.
Right, in such a conspiratorial way.
Because if that was true 100%, then like this whole thing of like where you have more money than I do, so I technically aspire to have what you have. And you see people who have more money than you, so you aspire to have what they have so you can do what you want to do. And then we keep aspiring to be something bigger or better. So even like the guy who has a radio show and has millions of viewers or listeners, and he makes, a couple $1 million, he still aspires to be like a Howard Stern. And Howard Stern is probably happy where he's at, but if somebody in his position would aspire to be something bigger, which is why Howard Stern does like those audition shows, because he makes money off of it. So you always aspire to be something bigger and better. And so long as you're doing that and you're doing well, whenever anybody goes, oh, we're all part of the system, man, like we're all just slaves, he goes, fucking work harder then. Like that's what he thinks, and it makes it acceptable. So if there was something behind it all, like an Illuminati or whatever, then they plan really well for that. And I don't know if that is possible.
It's tough, man, because we're getting into speculation, which I can say what I believe, but I don't want this to come off as like I'm saying this is what it is.
Yeah.
But I believe it is not only possible, but highly probable that there is a group of people that get together and try to influence.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Our direction, society's direction. Yeah. And I mean globally speaking. I don't just mean America.
Well, it happens.
But I think that they have their hands in numerous large corporations like banks and pharmaceutical companies. I think that they have their hands in giant organizations like CIA and FBI.
Like we were talking about earlier with doctors. Doctors go to the schools that are funded by the pharmaceutical companies.
Exactly.
Most likely. I haven't done the research.
Right.
But I mean,
well, they've done it, but suppress it.
Yeah. Even if you do the research, I mean, what do you know? When you read a news story that says something happened, what do you actually know about the news story? You don't know.
No.
They can be,
you don't.
Everything can be fake.
Everything is probably fake.